a witness? Can I get a witness? Get a witness. Welcome to the huddle. Can I get a witness? Can I get a witness? Each one reach one. Each one teach one. We all we got. We all we need. Can I get a witness? Can I get a witness? Can I get a witness? I'm talking about right now, in the moment where we know that your attention is the most powerful thing that you can pay. So can I get a witness right now when I say, we all we got, we all we need? Sister Gwen, you already know what time it is. Let's go. Want to give a shout out to my executive producer, who just happens to be my wardrobe coordinator. I say, baby, what I'm wearing today. She said, you wear that baby blue, better known as Carolina blue, and you let the Carolina come out in you. Say less, baby. Say less. Want to give a shout out to my homegirl, the greatest co-host in the whole world, Alexa. Tell me something good.
We all we got. We all we need.
Can I get a witness? Can I get a witness? Ooh. Tonight's word is own. Owner. Ownership. What do you own? There's a power in ownership. What do you own? The question is more powerful than the answer. Alexa, what is the meaning of own?
As an adjective, own is defined as being of one's own possession or relating to one's own self. As a verb, it means to possess or belong. Did that answer your question?
To possess or belong. Ownership, to be the sole responsible of something.
Sorry, I don't know that.
See, they say she don't know that. See, I own my own intelligence. That's artificial. This is the real deal. Do you own real intelligence? What do you own? What are you responsible for? Black history is gone, but we're going to still talk about it. Because it seems to be that everybody feel we're in a point of history right now where we feel we're going somewhere that we don't want to be. And it's in a way that they say we're going somewhere to where we come from. There was a time when we was owned by other people, but we got free. So when someone don't own us no more, who owns you now? If you free, who own you? Do you own yourself? Can you own up to your actions, to your thoughts, to your reality? Can you own it? Do you own it? Can you own yourself? Oh, this is a powerful word tonight. Ownership. Own up to who you is and where you at. First thing about ownership, we talk about, I want my 40 acres and a mule. Everybody feel like we're owed something. And that something was something that we were supposed to own individually. My 40 acres and a mule. It's a mentality. 2025. What do you own? I first began to understand ownership as a child. Ain't no story can teach me better than my story. I grew up in Hidden Valley, Charlotte, North Carolina. Some people only know about Hidden Valley as a derogatory. They had a story on gangland. But if you only know reality from a TV, you'll never see what's real in real life. We ain't talking about make-believe. Hidden Valley in Charlotte, North Carolina was a prestigious middle-class black neighborhood through the 80s and 90s and 2000s and 70s. Black ownership, two-parent homes. I grew up around this where it was norm, ownership. I began to examine all my friends' parents, my parents, to realize these were people who stood in ownership. A sense of pride, a sense of responsibility. I'm talking about what we call a community. See, a community is when you have a group of families living in one type of area where they all have a sense of pride that collectively creates a sense of haven around the community. That's what creates ownership. I grew up in it. So I understood what it was to always feel like that was my position. I went to work when I graduated high school around men who stood in ownership. A year ago, a young boy asked me, he said, "Mr. Trabb, let me ask you your biggest flex." He was looking at me. He wanted to know, and I think maybe he was expecting some type of lame answer. I say, "Young man, my biggest flex is I ain't never paid rent. I jumped off the porch owning my shit." So I understood ownership and the power of it. So at 21, I was cultivated to say, I'm going to own my own home. I'm going to own my piece of land. It may not be 40 acres, but it will be mine. I will be the sole responsible of my home. And 25 years ago, I simplified it as a young man. How do I achieve ownership? Still the same game today. It ain't complicated. Listen, we're talking about ownership. And anyone that stands in ownership understands what I'm saying. 2 years of job stability. 580 to 600 credit score. $500 in the bank for 6 months. Shoot your shot, know your lane, play your game, establish ownership, a sole responsible dwelling that you or your family can have where your name is your law. Gives a man power, gives a woman power. And if you ain't owning or understand ownership, then you're subject to someone else's power who owns your circumstances, who owns your reality, who owns your destiny, who owns your fate. So many of my brothers and sisters have been right in discipline, but they don't stand in ownership. And out of the bottom of their feet, they say, "Man, I got to move the owner's head." See, when my grandparents and their parents came out of sharecropping and slavery, they understood one thing about the American society. They wanted to own something. To own something is to have something, to be in control of something. And it wasn't much, but they owned what they had. We call it gentrification today, where they're taking our grandparents' land that they own, and they're taking it from the children and generations who don't value ownership no more, and they turning it back over to a piece of land that we can't understand because we don't understand ownership no more. What do you own? Do you own your own thoughts? Do you own your own fears? We're so cultivated by TV. We're so cultivated by everything that we don't even understand that we have been cultivated how to think, what to think. What do you own? The sole responsibility. Do you own your children? Some people say no, God owns them. Do you own your marriage? It takes two to make a thing go right, but do you at least own your half? Are you a sole responsible for the condition of every relationship that you own? Me and my wife had a conversation where we stand in confidence, security, love, and trust. I say and she say, if they can take you, they can have you. It's a hell of a thing to be mine. I own up to it. Your attention is the most powerful thing you can pay. When you are the sole responsibility or have the sole responsibility of anything and everything that you have in your possession, you take ownership of it. And whatever the condition is a reflection of your ownership. If my house is falling apart, my house is raggedy, my house is under poor conditions, it is a reflection of my ownership. If my relationship is shaky, it is a reflection of my ownership. So your attention is the most powerful thing you can pay. You pay attention to what matters. You own up to your actions, your words, your deeds, your commitment. See, what do you own? Some people don't own nothing. Not even them own selves. Not even them own selves. So if I own it and it's yours, and I ask the question, what do you own? Alexa, what is the meaning of own?
As an adjective, own is defined as being of one's own, belonging to oneself, or having a particular relationship or interest. As a verb, own is defined as possessing something or holding something as one's own.
Do you own your own dignity? Do you own your own integrity? Who are you when no one's looking? How easily are you influenced? How strong can you stand alone against something that's against you or people that's against you? In the concept of sports, when we compete and someone's before us, when they can control your mentality, when they can control your emotions, and controlling your mentality and controlling your emotions controls your outcome and your output. They can look you in your eyes and tell you, I own you. I possess the ability. And if you accept that, it's hero training. You got to own your own perspective. If you standing in hero training, you got to know everything you touch, everything you are part of, you add value. The only way you can know that is to own who you are. And know that the control of that is something that happens inside and comes out. And if you look outward for it, then you give control. You don't own it because it's something outside of you that controls. Come on, y'all. What do you own? Are you a business owner? If you own that business, you are the sole responsible proprietor of that business. If that business have employees, then all those employees depend on you and your leadership and your ownership to sustain, because now your business become a source and a resource to things outside of you. So if you take on the position, the pride to be a owner of anything, don't you realize that there is a due responsibility? So therefore, there's people that have no problem without owning anything, because everybody ain't built to stand in the responsibility, sometimes not even themselves. They're getting caught up in situations and they can't own up to it. They blame others. They can't take accountability. Own up to it. Own up to it. I'm talking to myself. I'm talking to you. We in the huddle. We in the huddle. There's a power that come with it. I want my own. You want your own. Well, own it. Work to own it. Get in position to own it. We talk about real estate. We talk about all these things that's happening in real life, in real time. But if you don't even own your own mind, it's like the Matrix. You can't see what's going around, what's coming down. I just simplified. What does it take to own my home? If you don't own your own home, just ask the question. The question is more powerful than the answer. This is how you beat fear. You put yourself in position to not lose, to fight, to win. If you're making car payments, the end goal is to own the car. What happens after you own the car? You still got to maintain the car. All through the process, you're responsible for everything you own. If you're a hero, if you're a shero, there is no other options. I talk about the future, man. We're in a time. We're in a transformation. People talk about being woke. They done hijack what being woke is. We know, hey, look, there used to be a conscious type saying where people, what they used to call the conscious community, people that had a thought concept of consciousness to really understand things objectively would have a word of woke to get a kind of idea of a train of thought. But we don't even own that no more. That's been hijacked for a political type thing. Now everybody's woke and they're using the word and term, are you woke? But this word is only being caught up in the game of Democratic, Republican, all out of context. See, I own hero training. I'm the master of this. I'll kick it anywhere. So I bear the responsibility of it. So when I talk about being woke, 10 years ago, we talk about Terminator, we talk about the Matrix, we talk about AI, we talk about Elon Musk, we talk about the government being shook upside down, we talk about everybody in an emotional whirlwind because nobody really understands and ain't really woke enough to see what's going on, so don't want one really own their own position. Everybody want to be woke though. thing been going on a long time. In 1984, they came out with a movie called The Terminator. Listen where I'm going. They came out with a movie called The Terminator in 1984 about a cyborg, a computer, an artificial intelligence that was going to take over humanity. The same thing, everybody so fearful of the character that Elon Musk is playing in real life right now. He's the richest man in the world. They came out with the first car, the electric car that'll drive itself. He's the mad scientist of technology. And he has a seat at the table at the most powerful nation in the world. In 1984, they came out with a movie called Terminator. That was about they had to go back in time to kill Sarah Connor, who was going to have a child named John Connor, named JC, that would come forth to be the savior of humanity against artificial intelligence. Oh, it's 2025, y'all. Talking about 41 years ago. Here we are. Here we are. The same concept that happened in 1984 in the Terminator movie, and they had a trilogy where they kept on making the story more complex and complex till you really understand. Here we are, y'all. And in 1999, they came out with a movie called The Matrix. That was about a man named Neo who would understand that he was the one who, after Terminator had done won and took over the world, and AI was officially the thing in the world, that Neo in the Matrix would go in the AI system and wiring to understand that there was an ultra universe that no one could see. Here we are in 2025, y'all. People acting like they goddamn woke and can't see shit. They don't even own their own intelligence. They've been cultivated since 1984 to be saying the crazy shit they saying and believing and fearing. Fuck we own. We don't even own our own mind. And we worried about going back into slavery. Do you own your own mind? We can't even take responsibility. We give it away. We give it out. Our children are at the weakest point of children in the history of time. Because we so blowed in our mind that I can't even say, my children are mine. Oh, God. We won't even say we own our own children. We constantly in rhetoric about they gonna kill the Department of Education. The Department of Education has been failing us since goddamn Jim Crow. And here we are, want to protect it. We don't even own our own mind to understand our own position. What do we own? What do we own? My grandparents, they own some land. They own homes. When they couldn't read and barely could write. And them same homes in 2025, we call it gentrification. Where them white folk or whoever you want to call them, and I ain't making them wrong, they come and take our grandparents' land because we don't understand today what ownership means. And it simply means to hold on and be accountable for the responsibility of maintaining something. And we so goddamn scared to maintain and hold on to responsibility that we just don't want to own shit no more. We don't even want to own our own children. We don't want to own up to our marriages. We don't want to own nothing. It ain't no value in being mine. That is the general census. My message is to own the God that's inside of you. It's in all of us. Don't separate from it. Because when you separate from it, you give someone else ownership of it. See how that works? When you separate from it, you give someone ownership of it. When we were slaves, someone gave us a God. When we became free, we were supposed to leave it down and get our own. Do you understand what ownership is about? Something that is mine. And ain't nobody else's. It's mine and it ain't nobody else's. And because I own it, I got the choice to share it and give it to those who's worthy of it. I own my love. I own my dignity. I own my respect. What do you own? Do you own anything? Fight, y'all. Fight, y'all. Some of the most powerful things, man. And one of the most powerful things, man, that you can pay is your attention. You pay your attention to what you care to. Simplify everything, man. Everything ain't complex as you think it is. If you don't know where you're going, any road will take you there. If you're real in America and you're an adult, aim to own something. Even if it's just your own dignity, your own self, your own name. Own it, man. Stand up in pride in it. And they say, who's the owner of this car? I am. Whatever they got to say about it, so it's mine. It's mine to keep. It's mine to maintain. Your ownership is a reflection of what's inside of you. As a homeowner, we hear things like, man, rent high. Man, they say, man, well, as a renter and as a homeowner, if I'm getting in the real estate game to rent, then it's all about a profit. And the only reason I'm going to be in renting any house out I own is to make a profit. It's all about finances and economics. But the only way to make a profit is I got to put somebody in the house who's going to pay me what I want, who can maintain the house, sustain the house, and cause minimum input in the house that I yield a profit. But if I put somebody in there and things always tearing up, things always breaking, and it's costing me to maintain the house more than it is I got income and rent for the house, then I'm losing on the house. But one of the for sure ways is sometimes people would always say, man, you go Section 8. But it's talking in homeowners, I was always warned, nah, man, you don't want to go with Section 8. I say, why? I say, man, them people on welfare, and sometimes they don't value things of pride or understand the value things of pride, and they going to tear your goddamn house up, and, man, you're going to spend more money trying to keep your house right than you will off making money. So I don't know sometimes if Section 8 is a good thing. And it was a logical conversation that yields some real decisions, right? But as a homeowner, we take the risk or we don't. And I can't generalize to say that anybody and everybody on Section 8 would destroy or damage a house, but unfortunately, this is how things work, and the majority or sometimes people that do, and they make it bad on those who really value and understand the position to be able to have that assistance. They say one bad apple rule the whole goddamn bucket. That's just the game. So I'm telling the sister with her children, and I ain't got nothing else to tell her. Let's talk about it, sister, how you can put yourself in a situation to where you can own your own home for your children. It's the only way we can make it out that game. It's the only way you can break the perpetual cycle. You got to be calm. You got to be. You got to be the one that see yourself. But if you can't see it, you can't be it. And you ain't gonna never own nothing. And you ain't gonna never be solely responsible for anything. And you ain't gonna never ever have control. So as much as you can look at the yin and the yang, the one side of the coin, this is just the way the game works. And you got to play this game to win. So I ask, what do you own? What? What? It's been a powerful week, man. I want to give a shout out to my brother Adrian, my brother Black. I had 2 powerful sessions today. 2 different brothers, man. Brought me to the word ownership. Like you say, just talking with me and being vulnerable. Who've made decisions, who come through some things. Looking back on them, could have been broke. Some people say we should have been broke, but we ain't broke. We still in the game. And the only way to understand how much you still in the game and how much you in position to win is you got to own everything that brought you here. The good, the bad, the ugly, the happy, the sad. If you can't own that, then you can't stand in the moment. You can't be no hero. You can't be the one that the ball come to with the game on the line and now it's in your hands and everybody looking at you in the stands and everybody got a whole idea at the same moment what you gonna do. But if you don't own who you is and you don't own what you is, then ain't nothing in your mind that's finna answer that question and say, I'm finna be me. And I am enough. And you finish just like you supposed to. And in the end, everybody who looking on or who looking out or who looking through, regardless of what their circumstances is, they will see one universal truth. God is good. God is real. God is great. And that reality comes something that came out of you from the inside. It's something that you own. Something that you possess. Something that you trust. But if you don't own that, you'll freeze up with the ball. Look to pass it. Hope to pass it. And you ain't going to do a goddamn thing. And you might cause your team to lose the game. So what do you own? I love you, man. I have grown into a better me. I'm growing, baby. I'm better than who I used to be. I've been on this journey for 45 years. I had some good times as well as I have shed some tears. I'm getting better and better every day, feeling like I'm moving in the right way. It's been a long time coming. I pay my dues. I put that work in, baby. Trying to be a better me done damn near drove me crazy. But it was worth it, baby, because I love it, baby. And I'm a better me. I remember when I used to be a younger me. Man, if I knew then what I know now. Now I'm as wise as an old owl, feeling young and gifted, just like a soul child. And I feel good to be me. I'm so proud of the man that I have grown to be. I have grown into a better me. I'm growing, baby. I'm better than who I used to be. Only way you can stand in that mirror and say that, you got to own what you see, man. I love y'all. See y'all next week. Hold me down.